The goal and purpose of a married life. No one can deny that marriage is a basically between adults. However, we shall see further down that many marriages fail because either one partner or both of them, though adults, are immature emotionally. They have failed to let sex develop as any mature person would, or nor have they been rational with it. They behave like imperfect persons, or feel irritated, or turn away in shyness when this topic is turned up in conversation. They do not know that a sexual relationship is necessary for a common tool to life. However, they have lurking doubt in their subconsciousness whether it is profitable or not to converse with anyone of sexual experience. This hesitation follows one appreciation and lack of knowledge of the importance of sex. Many eminent teachers realize that they need to give their students guidance on sex, but are unable to inculcate in them a sexual awakening. We are bound by habits and customs. We are suspicious, and this is reflected in our emotions, which we curb on the supposition that sex is dangerous. We must deny its existence. The result is that our development is stopped to some extent. This is why many young men are immersed in dream and imaginations of life on the hope that some or the other beloved face will meet them any moment and they will live with it all the rest of their life happily. We behave like children and put aside emotion and hope to avoid the bitter realities of the world. We do not let them disturb our dreams, and we keep expectation, the precious gift of love. Accordingly, we think of marriage and hope that at some time or another, love will knock at the door of the other's heart. No other certificate of marriage is necessary. Those girls who rely on the vulgar fictions await the prince of their dreams. He will enter the life on some beautiful day. So also, many young men await their princess. They picture themselves as a slave. Imaginations, magazine, radio, and cinema let their ideal of love be very, very spiritual, and they begin to think of women as on a plane higher than the angels. They hope that one of them will descend on earth and embrace her dream, who will love her sincerely. Nothing will interfere between them, and they live an enchanted life. They are enslaved easily by love. They begin to like love and are systematic about it, but they get fed up with it easily. Every time they conclude, after being enamored, that they have erred in their selection, the result is that their choice is never correct. Actually, they have not the qualification to love anyone for any length of time, because they are enamored with the thought of love itself, and to an erroneous thought. They are emotionally immature, and they cite love is everything. In fact, it is nothing of the sort. Love is determined potentially that keep marital relationship going smoothly. It motivates the most beautiful pleasures of the marriage. It is a strength and potential that enables both partners to combat the difficulties. It is not the final destination of our highway, but the starting point of a long superhighway. Those people who live in imagination do not try to learn from their surroundings. There certainly are couples who had got together through infatuations, but after a period of time got fed up with one another. Perhaps they detest the habits of one another, but we do not learn from this fact and continue to be lost in daydreams. Of course, even true love has an element of desire, and it will not be wrong to say that sexual desire is the beginning of love. The significant difference is that real love encompasses all aspects, limited only to sexual desire, but is built on mutual trust, fidelity, and a correct understanding. They vow to live together always. However, such a love is not the only factor on which a successful marriage depends. While it is a basic factor for that, another important thing, it is necessary, but that cannot be defined because it keeps changing with different people and their varying temperament. However, a sound intelligence has a great part to play in it, and next to it, a cheerful temperament. If love alone was enough, then many failed marriages would have been extremely successful. While we cannot ignore the importance of love, we must know that it is and what part it plays in marital bliss. While we place undue stress on involvement in love, we must tell our youth that involvement in love and loving some are not the same thing. Those who marry on the strength of love try to procure marital grief. A successful marriage depends not only on the choice of the mate or the general condition, but on what kind of a person we are. So a successful marriage must not be blamed on the stars, but among other things, two people are to blame for not perfecting something to which they ought to have attested and limited significance on which their success depends. Let us suppose that our elders tell us that true success in life depends on building an aeroplane that can fly all over the earth, but they also confiscate all books and manuals telling us how the aeroplane may be built. In that case, is not their advice meaningless? While it is important that partners must not be incompatible as far as sex is concerned, but we do not overlook the fact that dozens of married people are devoid of marital bliss. They cannot escape from internal suffocations and emotional strife, and are hurt by ancient false notions. Only sincerity and clear guidance, based on brave guidance, can get them their desired deliverance. Let us now turn to the main subject. The objective of marriage is that two emotional, well-developed men combine to shoulder the burden of life and try to profit from one another. Both of them have equal right and both seek mutual happiness. The partners of a free marriage must themselves be free. They must be free of the fear that arises from inside by itself. But this objective cannot be achieved in a short time because the centuries old silence on sex and misunderstanding about it is influencing all of us to some extent and make us treat sex as not a natural thing. So a continued effort is necessary to make a free, independent marriage as our objective, because all through it can both men and women reach the peak of happiness. If we ponder over the aim of marriage in Islam, then we can see what sanctity it gives to sex. The reason why present day men is subject to immoderation concerning sex is that we overlook the aims and objective of marriage and matrimony. The Western countries have forgotten everything else. In their pursuit of sex, they advocate an uncontrolled sex like an fettered camel. No one has any compunction over sex before or after marriage, and sex is not merely for sex, for the beastly pleasure alone. With the modern contraceptive preventing pregnancy, the alarm is to put off, so they are absolutely free of the border of marriage, and it is a responsibility and swim fearlessly in the sea of the sex for physical pleasure. Man can never get to the path of moderation by neglecting divine guidance. It is because of this deprival that they track on the wrong path in regard to sex when they do not fully comprehend the demand of marriage. Like other aspects of life, Islam has explained the objective of marriage and has presented a balanced solution for this. Most important issue of a man's life, there are two basic objectives of marriage, and they are the essence of the other objective: the survival of one's lineage and sexual satisfaction. We speak about them in detail here. The first objective of marriage in Islam is the survival of the human race and its growth. Today, man is deceived by the devil and resorted to birth control through contraceptives and is happy with it. But Islam lays emphasis on marriage to increase the human race while driving sexual pleasure. Allah has made the marriage as a means of survival of the human race. The Quran speaks of this fact. It says, O mankind, fear your Lord who created you from a single person, and from me he created his mate, and from the twain he spread abroad many men and women. So fear Allah by whom you demand your right of one another, and fear the breaking kinship of wombs. Surely Allah is ever watching over you. Quran 4 verse 1. The Quran says that Allah created from the first man, Adam, his partner Hawa. From them he spread their offspring to inhabit the earth. Though there are thousands of kinds of creatures on earth, yet the owner of the creations is the Lord of mankind, and all the signs of the nature are subject to him. Allah says in Surah Al-Luqman 31:20, do you not see that he has subjected to you whatever is in the earth? And he also declared man execute in Surah Al-Atin 95:4. Certainly we created man in the best stature, given that it follows that he should also give man an excellent code of life, so that he may retain his distinction. So he sent down prophets and books to teach and train him, and there is no option to him but to live his life according to divine guidance. Otherwise there is nothing but destruction and annihilation. He who has done an atom's worth of good will see it, and he who has done an atom's worth of evil will see it. Al-Zilzal 99:7-8. Then you shall be asked that day concerning the blessing. 102 verse 8 At-Takadur. Therefore every effort of a man